Hello, gorgeous human beings of the channel. A summit of sisterhood for me, for you, for us. Today is day 9 of the channel summit, and we actually have 4 speakers today. However, some of the calls are shorter. Some of these calls today are 30-minute calls. So there's more speakers, but not quite as long. This morning, we have such a beautiful soul coming to speak with us, who's going to share her experience of the channel and, some of her perspectives on life and the work that she does. But what's incredible about this particular person, I just find this to be so extraordinary, is that she found out she was pregnant right when the channel opened and then gave birth during the channel. And her son turned 1 right as the summit started. And it's just like such an interesting thing to see how you can walk alongside people for an entire journey. Like we were there from the beginning, like, hey, guess what? I'm pregnant, to I'm going into labor, to happy birthday, 1 year old. And the feeling of that is so beautiful and so profound. And it was such an incredible opportunity for us to stay connected all throughout that. Like there wasn't a big vanishing period. Sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes it's not what you need. Like I like being able to show different ways. Like Courtney had a feeling she needed to go inward. That was honored by everybody and it worked out perfectly. And Cynthia, she showed up differently and that was perfect for her. And that's a different way to show it. And I love how different people honored themselves entirely inside this channel, and it always worked out for the best. And so I'm excited for her to share her journey with us. You're going to get just a sense of who this person is. She's one of the softest souls, just so kind and loving and so present. Her bandwidth for people is quite spectacular, like always present, always with her heart wide open. And so such an honor to have her here with us today. Without any further ado, let's have you up. Cynthia, come chat with me. Hello. Oh, wait, hang on, you're muted. There you are.
I have to hide myself because I get distracted.
How are you feeling today?
I am feeling amazing. And I am so happy to see you all. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Melanie. I'm feeling excited and also ready.
Good. So why don't we start? I know one of the first things you wanted to touch on was your experience in the channel and some of the takeaways. That is a big mug.
Yes.
Some of your takeaways and some of the things that happened for you in the channel. So please take it away.
I will. This is a mug. It's like a breastfeeding mug because like I constantly have to have so much water, and so I need I literally have 2 giant mugs right here.
That's hilarious. Well, when you hold it up, it's literally as big as your head. You took a sip and your face disappeared.
Well, so it's funny because when I first entered the channel, I knew it was going to be spectacular. I got that rush of energy on that towel call that I was part of, and I immediately messaged the Alpha team, and I was like, I must be there. And I also, at that very moment in time, because I like to use tarot cards, and I pulled a tarot card and I got the World card. Like everything comes full circle, and it totally happened that way for me in the channel. So I remember when I joined, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be so good. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was going to be so good, and it was going to be so good for my business. That's what I was really focused on. And I like right around the time that I had joined, my husband and I were on a walk, and I knew that I knew that I wanted at least another child. And I had been, because it was a kind of rough experience before, and I had always wanted to adopt so we had been going through an adoption process, and um right when I around the time when I joined the channel, it had been 3 or 4 years of trying to adopt, I would say, and like trying really like I was pushing against a lot of resistance that were coming up in the physical world. So like just different things were stopping us. And anyways, at that time, my husband said, Cynthia, I don't want to go through this anymore. This has been too hard. And I was like so crushed, but underneath, like I knew that that was the right thing. And I didn't know why it was the right thing, but I knew that it was. And I was just thinking, yeah, we're we don't want to be like I don't want to have a baby when I'm at a certain age. And I was 41 at that time. And I was just thinking, yeah, I guess, it's like just a little bit too late. And then like a couple months later, I was just watching my other son, who was 5, and just thinking, life is actually really good. Like I'm connecting with in this channel. I'm getting a lot of support with my mentor, and life is really good. My business is good. I feel so good. And then literally the next day, I found out I was pregnant. And I I was like actually really scared. I was like, wait a second, like I had it in my head that I was not going to have another child. And I also, because I had had so many miscarriages before my first son, I was like, this is not going to happen. Like, what the heck? I am turning 42. This is just not going to go through. Like I just didn't dare to believe it in a way. And so I didn't tell my husband right away. I was just like waiting. And it was actually not till 8 weeks later that I told him. And I was like, so I had a positive pregnancy test. And he was like, what? Like, we have been going for 5 years and like you've never gotten pregnant during this time when my other son was being, growing and whatnot. And so I was like, yeah, I think this is happening. It's like, it's been 8 weeks. We're almost at that, 3-month mark. And, and anyways, like I went through so many judgments at that time. And, and I had always been the kind of person to like, yes, I have my heart open when I chat with people one-on-one, but when it's a group container, I totally step back and I like to observe. I like to get to know people by watching and listening really deeply. And anyways, I just got to this point where I was like, I had so much judgment in my head about being a new mom and 42. I had it in my head that it was too old, and I know now that it's not. But I just shared that with the channel sisters, and so many people just reached out and was like, my mom had me when I was 49. I had my child when I was 46. And it was like right after this moment when I told my dad that I was pregnant, and he was like, his first reaction was like, what, Cynthia, you're too old. And he was just like, he was reflecting what I was feeling. And anyways, like this whole process of like sharing in the channel, getting support from the women there, having that confrontation with my father, like I just got over with it. Like I got over it, and I was able to integrate that judgment. And then there was another moment in time during the pregnancy where I had gotten a notice from the doctor that there was a chance of Down syndrome. And then that was a whole other like voices in my head telling me, oh, this is exactly what happens when you have a pregnancy at this age. But because of having so much support and and really being motivated to do so much self-exploration in the past few years, um, through these containers with you, Melanie, and and other ones, and just being motivated since having my first child to really heal some past traumas. I was just able to just think, no, I I'm creating my life every moment, and this is a possibility right now, but it does not have to be the reality. And so I really just got support on really working through my own judgments with that scenario, and just being able to like, I realized that I had some judgments, and I didn't want to, like, I just didn't see that life for me in a way. And so I just got in that same situation. I got to a point where I was able to just see everything with love. And then that blew over. I ended up talking to a geneticist after like a further conversation, and he said that it was like, instead of a 1 in 150 chance, it was a 1 in 148 chance. And so it actually, I believe, was something that I was able to create in that moment. Like, I was able to like create that reality that I had wanted.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
So
grateful that during those times you had such strong voices. And, this is one of the things when you're surrounded with this many women of all walks of life, you're going to get evidence of things that you need. My mom had me when she was 49. I had my kid when I was 46. Like stories like that, we don't always have access to stories like that. If that's not the way your family did it, if everyone had their babies done and done by the time they were 30 and you're 41, you have no example of this. And the only stories you hear are the scary stories of the pregnancies that don't work out, or, it's like, how do you believe in anything different? And then all of a sudden you enter a room where there's so much possibility and so many different storylines. And it's like, I could believe in this. And not only could I believe in this, I'm going to be supported to continue to believe in this every day throughout my pregnancy. What an incredible thing.
yeah, exactly. And then, so when it got closer to having my baby, I found out that I had a condition called cholestasis, which is like my liver shuts down. And so then the baby needs to be born early. And so I was like, I need to do everything I can for my baby. And so I reached out to the women in the channel and asked for support in healing this. And I was like honestly blown away by how many people just offered their support and their healing. Like every single woman that I'm looking at here on this call like supported me through this. Um and I was just really blown away. And it's funny because like I wasn't the kind of person to reach out for support. I just I just never, first of all, I had this feeling like I wasn't worthy of it, but that wasn't totally conscious. It was also that I didn't want to feel obligated to somebody else, because if I was to receive support, then I would feel, just the way that I grew up, I would feel obligated. But in this situation, because it was me wanting to make sure my child was as healthy as possible, then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to reach out. And that was like the perfect catalyst for me being open to doing that and then receiving that support, because like I was just blown away with unconditional love. That is like one of the biggest lessons that I had learned in this channel, is that in order to really truly serve, you need to receive first. Like it's like breath. like in order to gift your breath out and in order to speak and or in order to sing, you need to take that breath in first. And I hadn't realized that. And so I feel like that was such a critical thing for me in being able to like truly serve from the heart, because previous to that, like I had done lots and lots of like volunteering, like wanting to specifically design shelters and nonprofit housing because like I really wanted to help people. But in that need to help people was like, I'm going to try to heal you so that I can also feel healed, so that I feel worthy of being healed. And so that I feel worthy. And so it was like a mix up of that energy, right? So it didn't fully feel good. And when I was able to receive that unconditional love, like I realized that I can just serve other people because it feels good to me. And it just like it made a whole bunch of connections like click
This
within
is
me.
so big.
Yeah.
So big. And you know what else it inspires for me? Like when I talk about for me, for you, for us, a big thing that I realized, and I was talking about this on an interview the other day, because someone asked me, what was the difference for you in like being a 6-figure earner and a 7-figure earner and an 8-figure earner? And what do you think the 9 figures is going to be different? And I said, I feel like at 6 figures, it was all about me. Like, am I worthy of this? Am I allowed to make this if I don't have an education? Am I technically not good enough? Like, am I allowed to do this? And at the 7 figures, it was, can I keep this? Was this a fluke? Was it a mistake? Am I gonna do it again? And when I hit the 8 figures, it was about other people. It was like, can I help other people go through what I went through with 6 and 7 figures? And that's when my business really started to take off in a massive way, is when it became bigger than me. And I feel like what you said here is so real, because at the beginning, before we understand that we have the power to affect other people's lives, all of our personal development feels like it's for us. And it does feel difficult to ask for help. And it sometimes does feel difficult to invest in ourselves, because it feels like the only person who's going to benefit from it really is us. We don't realize the impact it has on everybody else. As soon as there's a for you, it becomes a little easier. Like all of a sudden, that help you may have never asked for, now that it was for your child to come into the world healthy, it was like I opened the gates to be able to receive for my child. And so for me, maybe I would have just given in this space, but for him, I can also receive. And the next level of that is when it's like me, my children, and their future, the future generations, the life they end up living. Then there's a for us. And that's when companies, what I have seen, this is when companies start to massively thrive, is when they really get it and they embody it and it lands, that what they're doing impacts the world, impacts a lot of people, impacts a generation, impacts something that's so big that it's like, money through me is good for the world. Success through me is good for the world. It's not just about me and me probably never asking for support. And it's not about 1 or 2 people that I'm serving. It's literally through me. The more I feel I'm helping, the more I'm willing to receive, because I get how important I am in the big scheme of things. And I feel like that's what started getting into motion during your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And like there's a bit of a nuance to what you're saying, because even before the channel, like the work that I do, I was like, of course this is good for the world. Like obviously I should be doing this, and like obviously I should have all the support in the world to do this good work. And there was just a bit of ego in that, right? Like because it wasn't entering that like embodied feeling aspect, and it was the feeling of this unconditional love that really transmuted that little bit of ego that was in that kind of wanting to be like, I am going to change the world,
But what
right?
I loved in the way that you explained it was that there was a very big difference between, I want to serve people so that then I can feel like I've done something worthwhile, versus I feel like I'm worthwhile and it's such a pleasure to get to serve people knowing that I make a difference. Like the one comes first. it's like instead of it being what you did impacted your worthiness, it's your worthiness impacted what you did. And that's a far stronger cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's brilliant.
And yeah, exactly. And then the other aspect to the pregnancy is that, well, and giving birth and after the birth and raising my son, like there's so many painful, like physically painful moments in that. And that just combined with the presence that these women bring, like that brought me to presence and really, really, really be able to know what it means to be present and to, like, for example, like to be with that pain,
Mm.
because it's like the pain is not there every single moment of every of there's an ebb and a flow to it. And that being, I guess, reminded of that presence really helped me integrate that feeling as well.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for this. This feels like such a gentle way to explain something that's actually very tumultuous and deep. Like, I feel like this is a very silky code that someone could just kind of take in, but it took a lot to get there. So thank you for sharing all this.
You're welcome.
So the work that you do now, what is it? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
So so what I do is, like, it's the title of my presentation here is from spiritual potential to spatial reality. And it's really that process of taking something that is potential and bringing it into our physical reality. It's that, like, quantum physics process. And I do that, like obviously because I am an architect, and I pull people's desires and their dreams and put them into a physical design of a building that gets built. But it's more than that, because, like, through this whole process of learning, like, that I can serve because it feels good, and, like, really, really connect to that higher purpose of, like, this just feels good. And we are all creators, like, we're creating our reality in every single moment, but to do that really consciously, it requires a little bit of that letting go, but also it requ it doesn't require connecting to your higher purpose, but that is the best feeling on earth, like, of being able to connect to yourself through through basically, um through living your higher purpose. Like, that is the best feeling ever. And what I have realized is that I am able to bring out people's higher purposes. And I've been using, like, just since learning about gene keys and human design and astrology, really going deep into that, like, I can use that as like an extra tool of, like, oh, this higher purpose, I'm gonna, like, help you bring this into your physical reality. But I just naturally am able to, like, tune into people and just listen really deep as well. And
And this is
so,
something that I've recognized about you in the channel. Like, you have been one that has listened way more than you spoke. And the things that you did say, everyone always listened because it was like, everyone pay attention. Cynthia speaking, like, we always felt so heard and listened to by you that whenever you opened your mouth, it was like, what's she going to say? Because she's usually listening. And I feel like it's even a representation here. You said to me, 30 minutes is going to be probably enough, around 30 minutes, because I'm more of a listener than a speaker. But I just want you to know that every time you open your mouth, the beauty that comes out of it, like, you could speak more if you wanted. You really do have a beautiful gift for speaking. And the thing is, what I found from you, and it's so simple, you used to take people's dreams and turn them into physical buildings. And now you take people's dreams and turn them into physical realities. You're a life designer and architect.
yeah, yeah, and everybody has that ability. And I just really want to help people do that more.
Well, that is spectacular. I'm so excited for the clients that get to work with you, because in order for someone's real dreams to come to fruition, the most important thing is they need to talk about it. That's really the key. You know, so often people come into my world and they're like, how do we do it? How should we do it? Like, how do we learn? Like, how do we learn? It's like the biggest thing is you got to talk about it. You'll learn because you'll talk about it and you'll realize where there's a block, or you'll realize where you need to learn something. But talking about it is the most important thing. And not everyone is a good listener. A lot of people are very good at giving advice, but not so good at letting you have the space to talk and to actually have that kind of inviting energy where you just want to fill the space with more and say everything that's on your mind. And so I can see how valuable it would be with the quality of your listening to have a person who just really needs to bounce all of their ideas out, to have you as a landing space. It's basically what you were designed for. You're like perfect for that. So I love that that's what you do.
Yeah, that's
Is
true.
there
It's so funny.
Is there anything that you would like to give as a parting gift, a parting sentence, a parting thought before I read your bio?
Hmm. I guess what I would just say as a lasting thing is, and I hope that this came through in my talk, is the the biggest difference in your life will be through connecting with yourself and that essence of yourself. And 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 it's worth the journey. It's definitely painful at times to do that, but it's so worth it because you become a much more conscious creator of what you want in life when you can really connect with your core self there.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your life with us in the channel. Thank you for being such a beautiful presence, a beautiful light. Thank you for being the one who went for sisterhood, who actually leaned forward and said, you know what, I think I would love support here. That was such a beautiful, unique experience for us in the channel also, to be able to have someone that wasn't just there or leaning back when things were hard, but to actually also say, I'm in, and I believe that you guys can help me. Like, that was a really beautiful opportunity for all of us. I think, you know, holding you through that pregnancy was such a cool thing for the entire group to feel that we were connected to something so powerful in your life. And so thank you for letting us in. It was an incredible journey with you. Oh, okay. Cynthia is a creator, an artist, an architect, a mentor, a mother, creation coach, and founder of Avid Architecture. Having survived a childhood suicide attempt, crime conviction, 20 moves across the country before age 20, Cynthia can hold space for the others in any walk of life. She transformed her life circumstances and went on to design award-winning architecture. She's managed multi-million-dollar high-profile building projects, teaches architectural design to university students, and is a board director of the Royal Architecture Institute of Canada. Cynthia's mission is to help people feel good and supported, to connect more deeply with themselves. Her energy eases anxiety into calm while bringing forward pathways to elevate life. Having led community workshops for hundreds of people, she's able to translate diverse intentions so people can see truly each other in their own light. With her open-hearted, vulnerable ability to see deep into the core of you, Cynthia shines a light on your spiritual potential and supports you in bringing your desires into material and spatial reality. Wow. I am so glad that you are here, that you managed to find a way to lead yourself here, because clearly you had big things to do.
Thank you so much, Melanie. This container has been amazing, and I really appreciate you, your love that you have shown all of us, your leadership. Like, I've been blown away by your leadership, and it's really inspired me to be the best leader I can be. And same with all of the women in the channel. Like, everyone here is such a leader in their light, and it's just been, I feel really lucky to be here.
Well, we feel very lucky to have you with us, and it's been an incredible 2 years, and I'm so grateful for this time I got to spend with you. It was an honor.
Honor is mine.
I love these conversations. I love these calls. I love these moments. This is what I wish for us. This is what I wish for us. I wish you clients that make you feel like this all throughout your time together. I wish you clients that the saddest thing you ever have to live with them is the beautiful moment at the end when it's like the journey has completed. Like I wish you that that's the only thing you ever have to feel any ounce of sorrow about is I'll miss you. Like that's something quite spectacular about this body of work when it's done in alignment and in integrity. So thank you for always being that. This kicks off day 9, call 1. We have 3 more calls today. They will, some of them are a little shorter, but please come and hang out with us. Every single speaker has a code, something so beautiful to share. Cynthia, this is a masterpiece. Thank you for your presence. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate you greatly, and we will see you on the internet.